Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
We can.
Perfect, thank you. I can't see everybody when I have my screen sharing. Here we go, here's the chat. All right, thank you everyone for joining us for our open forum today. I am Angel French. I work at the Walsh County JDA, which is Job Development Authority, and I'm one of many people working on this ARWIP grant. So it's a regional workforce impact program. And what it does is it's supposed to help us attract workforce. And one of the biggest issues we have is, as you guys are all very well aware, not enough childcare, and we need to find out ways to support our childcare providers and figure out ways we can do that within the limitations of the grant. One of the major limitations we have, well, two actually, is one is the deadline. This grant is due within a month, and then we have to have the money received from it spent within or by this time next year. It's related to COVID money, so there are limitations on it. One of the biggest issues that we've come up with is that we cannot use this money directly with in-home providers, and unfortunately that's a huge portion of our childcare providers. The majority of them are at-home providers. So we want to try to find ways where we can still benefit everyone in our region. So our region, this is a regional grant. I should have started with that. So that's Grand Forks County, Walsh County, Nelson County, and Pembina County. So we're all working together and we're all trying to figure out a way to best help childcare in this time frame and within our restrictions. So we've come up with a few ideas and then said that's not going to work, and come up with a few more and said that's not going to work. So we really wanted to reach out and talk to you guys, the providers, and see what ways we could best benefit you that will fit within our guidelines. So we can't help in-home daycares, like I said, but there might be ways that we can benefit them indirectly. Like maybe we need to have a program. I was talking to someone today about, having some sort of program where we help you transition from your in-home daycare with just one person to teaching you how to take on staff and how to expand. Maybe that is something that people need. Having the resources available, having a central location where we have people come in once a month, like Childcare Aware can come in and provide services and, have resources there, or any other kind of ideas. And really, I want to have most of this meeting just be for you guys to tell us what your biggest issues are, where we can help you, and we can let you know whether or not it fits within the guidelines of our grant. But the bigger picture that we want to do is we want to create a strategic plan where we focus long-term. How can we help long-term? After this is done, what can we do to help our childcare providers? Because there are lots of issues. Right now, this grant, we can't supplement pay, even though pay is such a big issue when it comes to childcare or wages. We can't supplement the cost of people attending childcare, so it's hard because you want to raise your rates so that you can pay your staff better, but you can't raise your rates because families can't afford it. So we need to know these issues so that we can do some really long-term planning as well and try to figure out the best way we can help everyone in our region. So with that, I'll ask if anybody else that was kind of on our committee, I don't know if Red River or Verla, if you want to add anything, and then we can just open it up to everybody just to kind of share your frustrations, your concerns, what you think would benefit you, I mean, that's what we're here for. We're just here to listen. So does anybody, Red River or Verda, oh, Don or Verla, do you want to add something that I'm sure I missed, but, and then we'll open it up to the providers.
Yeah, I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm Dawn Mant. I'm with the Red River Regional Council, and we also staff the Nelson and Hamina County Job Development Authorities. So I'm here to just listen and find ways that we can support increasing slots. Hearing directly from all of you is really important to our efforts. So please, please take the liberty and the time to share your thoughts with us.
I'm Verla Jung. I'm with Childcare, where we are a statewide agency that work with startup and expansion. And so I'm also a part of the group. We've done some brainstorming, trying to think of what can we create, how can we help providers. And the grant is created with some COVID dollars. And so we need to look at how did that impact providers, and did some close, and can we create some slots that enable the area to increase the workforce.
Yep, and there's lots of restrictions that I didn't get into, but as we continue our discussion, we can kind of touch on it and, you know, say, yes, that we could do something like that, or no, that would not fall within the guidelines of this grant, but that is something we want to keep in mind for the future. So we just want to make sure that we get all yours. So I know it's kind of awkward in a virtual setting, but I would like to just open it up. And I mean, I don't know, you can raise your hand or you can just unmute. You can put on your video if you feel comfortable and just tell us everything. Oh, I think you're muted still.
I'm currently letting my last child out for the day, and then I'll be right back. But I am totally here and I have something to say.
Sounds good. And I just want to thank everybody for taking the time to meet. I know there was never a good time to meet, especially when you spent the whole day taking care of children, but we really appreciate your time. So yeah, if anybody would like to add anything, even if you just need a place to vent, we're here.
Okay, I am back now. Hello, everybody. So my name is Kiana. I have a child care center, one of the newer child care centers here in the city of Grand Forks. And I think our biggest issue, it's not really the salary and the wages that everybody wants to make. Our biggest thing is getting the employees to come in and keep them. So like everyone wants insurance and all of the extra benefits, but you can't exactly start off with like a new startup company. You can, but we can't at the moment provide them all the insurances, all the things that the teachers want. So it's kind of like our biggest thing right now is finding what we can do for the teachers, but also being able to like give them like at least the minimum health insurances or wages, and I don't know, trying to just keep the staff here, because when they're here, they're great, they're amazing, but it's like they have so many other options. And I know one of the first thing that you guys said was salary is something that you guys can't really help with. So another thing would be like having more options, or like having a way to connect all the other centers together somehow. Like, sorry, 1 second. I have my children here. My own personal children here, so sorry.
That's okay. So do you want to do like a shared service thing?
Sorry, what was that?
So are you thinking like a shared service, like, you know, have all the childcare providers come together and you all join like a health insurance, so it's cheaper, like with a group,
Yeah,
something
exactly.
like that? Okay. Or do you
I
want
know.
resources on how to do that? Or do you know how to do it and it's just not affordable?
I'm not sure. I didn't really look too much into it. I know like how much it is for my center to have insurance for everyone, But since there's really not that many centers in Grand Forks, East Grand Forks, so it wouldn't hurt for us to all say, well,
Join
we have
together.
this many kids total. What can we split? We can literally divide the cost and allow our staff, each of our staff members, to have a decent family or single health insurance to live with, you know? It's like we can, if we work together, we can split it if anyone's interested in doing that.
So are there more beyond health insurance that you're interested in, like accounting or like billing or
Accounting, billing, like even auto insurance. Last week I was calling different schools to see if, because we have a vehicle, but we can only carry a certain amount of kids in the vehicle, and everyone wants transportation. So I've been calling. I haven't gotten any calls back yet from the schools, but I've been calling different centers to see, like, are you guys interested in, if my school pays for half of your vehicle insurance, can you pick up some kids at $315 for us, $320 for us from the schools and drop them off? Or like, we can't have a playground at my school either because there's a huge parking lot here and they won't let us install a playground. So I was asking, could we use your playground? Are you licensed to have more kids at a certain time on your playground? And we're like right across the street. Like, we can help with cost. Cost is, everyone's paying for childcare. So cost isn't really the issue, because even if kids can't afford it, there's parents who really need it and there's parents that will pay for it. But we can utilize each other's centers to, help each other out, because I think everyone's like, well, we need more help, but we're here and no one's really like, we need more meetings like this. So everyone knows that there are schools who are willing to work with other schools and split the cost on things, because the kids need it. The kids who are here need it.
So maybe if we had some sort of regional structure where there could be communication between different daycares, or
Right.
somewhere where you can post, hey, I'm looking for a van to borrow for, 2 days.
Exactly.
We have that. And hey, I have this, that you can kind of like a space like that for you.
Exactly. Yeah. Or like, I know in some groups too, you can have like an open calendar. So you can say, well, my vehicle is available this day. If you want to use our vehicle, we can have this many children on the vehicle, and this is what we would charge you. If you use the school district's vehicles to just to go down the street to the park, it's like $70 for one school bus ride there and back. $70. When someone across the street from us or wherever, another school in the area, they're already paying for their insurance. Why not give them $70 a month towards their insurance that's paying for at least half their insurance in most cases? And we could schedule like a few days to use their vehicle. In the long run, we're saving money, they're saving money, they're not having to pay their bill, and we're putting gas in their vehicle. So
if we kind of had a website that maybe was multifunctional, an open calendar like that, a place where you can communicate and, connect with other providers, maybe share resources, share help. And then maybe have it be a space where we could also list resources available to you, like grant opportunities or anything like that. Or, maybe if Childcare Aware has something, they can list it on there. Or link to their website, or is something like that, or are you thinking something different?
Yeah, no, that is exactly what I'm interested in, and I could even help create something like that. But yeah, that would be really good. I think the only thing I really see daycare providers in Grand Forks post is like, we're hiring and their wages and what they offer, but it's so much deeper than the staff and what they're hiring for. So yeah, that'd be really good.
Okay. Do other people on this call think that would be beneficial as well?
So there is a group out of Fargo, or it started in Fargo, that posts a lot of information. They've formed their own group, so they have, I'm sure not every person that comments, it's a Facebook page, is in agreement with the other parties in the group. But that would be something, if Grand Forks already has a group, maybe other providers could become members of that. I don't know how their group, I know as an agency, we can't do that, but there might be others that could.
You guys can hear me with my earbuds in. But we
You're really
do have-
quiet.
Okay, maybe I'll try to just take the earbuds out and hopefully that will work better. But we do have a Grand Forks childcare directors group. Can you hear me better now?
A little bit. It's still kind of quiet, but yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So we do have a Grand Forks childcare director group that meets during the school year. So it's typically like August, September until May, and we meet once a month. Not many people come. We try to meet on like a Wednesday at like 4-ish towards the end of the day. So hopefully that way more people can come. And then, you know, it's pretty much mostly the directors that kind of get together, like a representative from the center or wherever they are from, where we can kind of get together, talk about, you know, and kind of work through some of these problems that we've been having, or kind of like tonight where you can just say, I'm struggling with staff, or I'm struggling with this or that, and kind of help each other problem solve. I was thinking one of the things too is like training opportunities, like if like you could sponsor some training opportunities for staff, because that might even free up some of the money that you have to allot for each staff to be trained throughout the year. That could go towards payroll instead. I don't know if that's something that you guys could help out with necessarily. But maybe
So
that would even.
What training are you talking about specifically?
So like continuing education for like each staff member through in the state of North Dakota that does childcare has to do a specific number of training hours for how often they work. So like a full-time staff member has to have at least 13 hours of continuing education each year. And so we go through Growing Futures, like North Dakota Growing Futures, and like our staff have to go through that, or some who are in college can, you know, if they take like teaching and learning classes through the college, those would count. And then we have to upload their official transcripts to Growing Futures, and then they kind of go through all of that. So that's something too, where like, you know, some trainings range from $15 to $45, which if you've got a couple of $45 can add up for each staff. If you're looking at anywhere from, you know, 5 staff all the way up to 50, or, you know, like that kind of thing, it adds up quickly. So I don't know if that's something.
You don't have an approximate cost like per employee, do you? Like if you just had to rough guess?
If I had to, so a full-time staff member, I think typically the classes that are like 8 to 10 hours are normally that $45, and they need to have at least 13. So I would guess it's probably anywhere from $60 to $70 per full-time staff.
Okay.
Part-time staff, like it goes down from like 13 hours is like 30 to 40 hours. 20 to 30 hours a week would go down to 11 hours of continuing education. That 10 to 20 would then be 9, and that basically 0 to 7 hours a week would be then 7 hours of continuing education.
So like getting funds for like specific training would benefit you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only
To find,
what?
is the training easy to find? Is it easily available when you need it?
So normally through Growing Futures, yes, they do a lot of like online interactive PowerPoints, like typing, that kind of stuff. As COVID procedures have gotten lower, they've been a few more in-person classes. Like I know there used to be a Nurtured Heart class that was offered pre-COVID, which I think is now somewhat starting to come back. That's a really great, you know, like behavior guidance class, that kind of thing. That's awesome. And like some of those like in-person class ones are a lot harder to find nowadays, just because they haven't been available for so long, and you know, that kind of stuff. So but a lot of them, like through Growing Futures, are really easy to find. They're easily accessible as long as you have, way to access the internet and the website, that kind of thing. I've done classes on my phone before, so you don't have to necessarily have a whole computer set up, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I like that idea. The only issue I see with it is that we have to have all the funds spent. So
Yeah.
there might be a way to prepay for some classes, but I'm not sure. That's one
Yeah.
area we have touched on.
Okay.
Is first aid and CPR, is that every year or is that every few years?
Every 2 years, first aid and CPR. And I know depending on where you go, depends on the price of what it is too.
Yeah, because I've heard it range from $20 to $100. And yeah. So we have talked about that. So that would be just a matter of seeing if we can prepay ahead. I don't know, Don, did you get any clearance on, like, clarification on that?
I'm gonna guess not, but
But it is something that we looked at, so we'll have to look more into that, because maybe that is a way we can, because that's what we were trying to figure out is what expenses do you have that maybe we can address with this grant? And it's kind of tricky, but training was definitely on that list. So that's good. So we'll know to keep looking into that. Yeah. What else do you got? we need ideas.
how are you guys facility wise? Would you need additional space to be able to grow, or what would be barriers to growth for your facilities?
For our center, I've got it. Sorry. I just found out about this meeting 30 minutes ago, so I'm totally unprepared. I'm sorry. But for our center to grow, we can only have 33 children here until we install more toilets. We can have another 60 kids once we get that, but it's taking forever because we're a new center. We don't qualify for loans and things like that yet. And sometimes it does get frustrating, but I'm trying to do like fundraisers. And it's like you post about the fundraisers and things that you do, but it's not exactly like some people show up, some people don't. We're still a new school and it's hard to get the word out there about it. But if like raising money just to get the things that we need has been like the hardest thing ever. And it's like every single day we're telling people, well, we can't have more kids. We can because we have the space, but we can't because you can't have one toilet for all of these children here. So you have to get toilets installed. But that's another huge thing we're dealing with. We have the space. I know some centers like they don't have space to add anything extra, so they can't have any kids, even if they did find, even if they did have more toilets, they can't put more toilets in. They can't, like their space is full. But we have this huge 77,500 square foot space, and we just don't have the money to install toilets to get the extra 60 kids here. So
that would certainly be something that would, a renovation that would be all within the guidelines, I would think.
yeah.
Where
What did you say?
which facility is yours?
Academy of Kids in the
Here in
Columbia
Grand
Mall.
Forks.
Yep.
Okay.
We're here in the Columbia Mall.
Okay.
But yeah, we have like this huge space. We only have 30 kids right now. And like I've applied for everything, but just to get us open, I've applied for all the things that I could apply for or that I even know about. I've joined groups and everything, but I can't just keep taking out loans and stuff. So it's like every day we're telling them, no, we can put you on a list. We can put you on a list. Or like I even met someone today or yesterday. And I told her if I have kids, is it okay if I can tell the parents on my waiting list that we have room or that this school has room? And she said that I could do that. So I'm going to start turning my kids away to them, because if you have vacancies, like we have a list of kids that we can put in here, but we can't because of toilets.
So if you got toilets, you could double your capacity. Is that what you said? From 630 to 60 about? Is that,
to 90. We can have
Not-
92 kids
Oh.
in here.
so you can like triple your capacity
Yeah,
basically?
Triple. Yeah.
So how many toilets do you need?
5 toilets or at
Five?
least 4.
Four.
Yeah. 4 would get us 80 kids.
would get you
5 would get
90?
us. Yeah.
Okay. So we have someone that works, she wasn't able to join for this call, but she's working with Grand Forks. So we have each representative in each county. So we'll definitely let her know, you know, that maybe she can reach out to you.
Yes, it's or I mean, yeah, that would be great actually. But for the time being, until we have toilets, if anyone needs children, we have kids that are like desperately, like the nurses here, it's crazy. We have them calling from their work phones trying to get into school because they really need summer care, somewhere for their kids to go because they have to go to work.
Mhm.
So yeah, we've got kids here. If you guys call, ask for me, I'll give you some kids. But yes, that's that and salary.
Cassie, did you want to add to that?
I guess we're full. Like we don't have room for anybody extra. We just filled our last school age spot here today because one of them is going to stay home for the summer. And so that, you know, we kind of got to take somebody off of our wait list there. But otherwise we're just full. So I don't have, I guess, too much like
You
too
can't
much to
expand
add.
unless you got a
Yeah.
new facility, basically.
Yeah, that would pretty much be it. But I think if we expanded, I think we would want to have our, like, we would want to incorporate us all back into one building because right now at Little Miracles, we have the Child Care Center and then we have the Pediatric Therapy Clinic. And so with that, you know, we would want to make sure that we would have a building that would be big enough for us to expand that could include everything we wanted plus expand for like childcare. So it'd be huge. That kind of like it would be big. That kind of a thing. So that way we can kind of be all back in one instead of being separate, you know, that kind of stuff. So we're a multi-layered business that's got lots of different things going on. So
And how about some of the other people on the call? Are you at capacity? Are you wanting to expand but can't? Don't want to expand at all because you don't want employees? Like what is stopping you from creating more spots, I guess?
Hi, I'm Janine from the Y in Grand Forks, and we are as close to capacity as I can for the number of staff I have right now.
Okay.
I'm finally out of the classroom after 7 months of being then 8 to 6 every day. And so I'm hesitant to add more just because I think I'll end up in the classroom if somebody quits again. But kind of the same thing, like they said, our building is full for the number of kids. All of our programs are, other than the one classroom. You know, we have a waiting list up till you know, for years and years and years, but just to not have the space to expand just because we don't, every inch we have used for childcare right now. So without, like Cassie said, without getting a new building and without redoing everything, kind of we're maxed out for what we have other than the one classroom. And if I could find, you know, one more person that would work full time, I could, you know, fill up that one tomorrow, but it's just a waiting game, I guess.
And is it hard to find and keep staff, like they were saying as well, or? what do you
Yeah,
think?
for sure. I mean, I think the staff that we have, like they said, are all super, super good, and you just don't want to lose them either. And so we kind of run into the same things that we're both were saying, but the staff we have are really good. It's just we need more of them just to keep our hours of operation that we have going.
Are you able, if I can ask, are you able to offer benefits?
We do for our full-time staff. Yeah,
Okay.
we have health insurance for our full-time staff, but not everybody. If they're not full-time year-round, they're not considered full-time.
Okay.
So, like our seasonal people that work just for the summer, they don't have insurance at this time anyway.
Gotcha. Would anybody else like to add their situation?
Tiffany, I'm dying to see your face. You have to join.
Do I have to turn the video on?
Want to
No.
see it.
I'm sitting in my vehicle during T-ball here right now.
Uh,
So I'm making it work. The kids might come back. Maybe I do better talking without the camera on.
That's fine.
So I have the Group 30 license in Michigan. I have it out of my home. Bathrooms is an issue. I kind of get complaints from the inspector every year that I should probably install a bigger bathroom. I have one stall, so I have to make sure I watch my potty trained kids to my non-potty trained kids for that. There is room, there's a way to do it in that building. Again, it just will cost money to do it, so I avoid it. The other issue is it would be nice if there was like, so I have a group 30 and that's the max you can do until you're a center. With center, there's more rules and more money involved, so I haven't made that step to do it. I think I have some of the space to do it. Just, it'd be nice to be able to have like a group 40 license or something like that, because I do turn down kids quite often for that. Health insurance for employees would be great. That's another one. Keeping staff there, I have probably some of the best staff. I'm so lucky on that part, and they stay, but it'd be nice to be able to pay them more, which I know you guys can help that out. I always want to up the rates, but you're never sure in like a small area, you know, how many kids you're going to have in a year or 2 years, you know, I don't know. Those are some of the issues. Space, bathrooms, employees.
So is
Yeah.
the bathrooms also stopping you from going past your group 30? Is that part of it?
No, well, if
Or
I
is it
wanted
more-
to, yeah, if I want to turn the building into a center, I would definitely need to do bathrooms.
Okay,
With my space right now, I just have to make sure like I'm watching the potty trained kids to the non-potty trained kids and make sure I don't go over my 15. You only can have 15 per one bathroom in the group 30 license.
okay.
And I only have one toilet and stuff. So I'm trying to think of other things too.
Or
The food program is a little, you know, the food program is another one because I don't qualify for like the home daycare food programs. And so I follow like the school food program. And they just pay off income base. So
Okay.
my food check every month isn't anything too crazy to help out with the cost of food, of doing, of that. Shh, okay, go to the game. Because most of my families aren't low income.
Okay,
So I think that was a cost that was always coming out of my pocket too for a long time.
No, Ellie. We'll get a game.
Tiffany, are you still in the same building that the county owns?
Yep.
Okay. I thought you said you were out of your home and I didn't.
No,
Okay.
I meant like I work as a group
Yeah.
30 out of home. Yeah. Nope, I'm still in that building. So there's plenty, but we're always at, I mean, I have to watch the numbers of 30 every day because there's some, if it was possible, I would be sitting at 35 to 40 kids a day. If it was possible. I have enough summer staff to do that. And 90% of the time I have enough year-round staff to do that, but I just can't do it. So because of the spacing and then moving up to a center.
so if you had help to move up to a center, is that something you would do?
Yeah, it would be something I would look into for sure to see what we would have to do
Okay,
for the building. It's a lot of my staff is older too. So if it requires like a lot of training, that's sometimes an issue just because I have a lot of older staff. I know we want to move on to like the step 3 program for childcare aware, but it requires lesson planning and more like documentation. And my staff is older and they just don't want to do that.
mhm. Okay,
But it seems like toilets would be an easy fix. For a lot of
Yeah.
situations.
who needs toilets? Raise your hand.
Toilet.
Toilets, I think would be an easy fix all over. Yeah.
And to solve a big problem, doesn't it?
See, This is
Yeah.
great, because we had no idea that people needed toilets, like, I would have never thought it. This is why we need these meetings, you know, to know, because that, for us, I mean, if we make sure that it fits in the funding, I mean, it is something that can be tackled, and we could do it within 6 months that, or well, like a year that this grant requires, you know.
So I think another thing to point out though, with moving from group to center is if they have, then that person has to have that early childhood degree or a CDA in order to qualify as a center director. And if you're open a lot of hours, you need more than one. So I think that would be another thing for anyone considering expansion, to know that they have that person, or that they know they can get that person.
Mhm.
So Verla, is that a policy issue? Is there wiggle room on the, I mean, it goes from 30, anything above 30 is a center, which has all these additional requirements, or? I mean, I'm thinking,
Actually, a center starts with 19. It can, but
okay,
to accommodate the oil boom that we had a few years ago in Western North Dakota, and they didn't have people with those qualifications, they gave us that group 30 license, which was wonderful for North Dakota. And a lot of smaller communities,
right.
30 is the magic number. They can do their community with 30. So, and then that kind of follows, you know, the bright and early quality rating system kind of follows that when you get so far up that you need someone with that degree to get to a certain step, especially a director. So I don't know that there's wiggle room in that.
But we
And
could
just
help
what-
someone get their, what's the acronym, CNA?
CDA.
CDA, sorry. But we could help with that potentially, because you said you could do that within a year, didn't you, if you were very ambitious?
Mhm.
Okay.
If anyone needs employees for the time being with CDA, I do have some that we've been helping get their CDA, and they'll have it in July. So until we get toilets, we just have employees here already, so.
You're just willing to share everything.
You
You're like, here's
know,
my band, here's my employees.
You know,
It's wonderful.
we have like, the space is so big, there's so much that we can do with the space, but right now we're just kind of stuck. So until we get that, we do have people, we have kids who are ready to just start working, or see if childcare is even something that they want to do. But there's different programs too. Like, I moved from Florida. There's programs there that'll help you get your CDA in like a weekend. You just have to do the classes. So they'll set you up completely with portfolio and everything that you need. You just have to put in the work to do the classroom hours and the observation. So you can definitely expand if you have those extra directors available. So I've got some for you.
Is anybody on the call from Pembina County? No,
I don't see anyone from Nelson on either.
Tiffany is from Nelson.
Oh, okay.
Well, I wonder in this grant if we don't create a line item for just facility improvements, and we help get some of these small things taken care of. Seems like an easy problem to solve.
Well, yeah, for them, it's not so easy. But I mean, man, that could be a way to do immediate impact. And we would have never thought of that without having this call. So we really appreciate.
For those of you that would expand, if you had toilets, then do you also need other materials? You need, you know, resources and nap mats and pack and plays or cribs, or, you know,
Pack
other.
and play would probably be another good one. Like, I know my pack and play is, you know, once they get like a little tear in them, you can no longer use them.
Oh,
So an updated, you know, coming in maybe to people's facility to see where they're sitting at with their pack and plays, that would be, I think, another good one. Because I think I'm on this, I need to purchase 2 pack and plays right now because they have just little holes in the netting, and then they're no longer good.
we used to buy them mega bulk and give them to new programs, but I don't know, Dawn, if that's something that could be done again or not. Could you just purchase
Oh, yeah.
and have them on hand for programs?
I know we talked about that and we kind of needed to get some more guidance, because we talked about like, what if we just purchase all this equipment and then people fill out a request form and then they can get it? And then
And
we
it's
can get
kinda
the
like-
money spent, but I don't know, we'd have to.
Then it's kind of like you're creating your own grant system, maybe. I don't know.
Exactly.
It'd have to be a
That's-
question for the state, probably.
Mhm. I think that's where we came up, because that's what we thought at the last meeting too, is can we just buy the stuff and have it available? Ugh.
What do you mean you need 30 toilets?
It's a real issue, people.
For 30 toilets.
I'm just thinking about one.
Every time the health inspector comes, he like starts lecturing me on it, and I'm like, I just keep talking, and I'm like, I know. I'm like, I need to work on it, because you do, but I think an estimate is like between $10,000 some dollars to revamp my bathroom to do it all. So it's a lot of money for a small business.
Yeah,
We joke about a toilet, but it's so much more, because it's often a plumbing issue and making another bathroom and the drainage. And then you need another hand washing sink. And then you need, more dispensers and more garbage cans
And if it was to add a shower in it, then I could maybe be looked at for the home food program and the qualification, there's different income levels for that. So the food check could be bigger and whatnot.
I guess I would encourage you guys to think, round up some cost estimates on what these types of projects would cost to actually get done. I think we just create a line item in the budget for facility improvements that would expand slots. But I'd encourage you each, because you'd have to find your own cost estimates, your own carpenters and those kinds of things. But getting some of them, because we have to expend this money by next summer, it will be kind of what I call fast and furious money. So what can we get done rather quickly? And do we have the carpenters to get it done?
the supplies, are they available? Yeah, this timeline is just absolutely terrible.
And I wonder, in Kiana's case at Columbia Mall, it would be a leasehold improvement. So that would maybe be a question to the state. Same with Tiffany, I guess. She's leasing from the county.
Yep.
Okay.
But waiting for supplies too, like I've been waiting for a new toddler table, one that the kids kind of sit in and buckle, to put in my toddler area. I've been waiting for 3 months to get that table, and I just contacted them and they still can't tell me when I can get that table. So, I mean, I don't know how long it will take to get certain supplies.
Mhm. That was a big concern of us, like if we help someone, build an addition to their facilities that could grow, would it even be something that could be done in the time frame that we need? And if we don't spend the money by the deadline, then that money goes back to the state. So then it's like, and then you're stuck with a half-done project and no money to fund it. So that's a big concern of ours as well, is what happens if we only get halfway through a project because we have delays and. So
And then
it's
there's
like-
the 25% match too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but it's just, it's very difficult to know what you can do reasonably in that time frame and have an impact. But then it's also like, we do want to look at creating a strategic plan of what we can do to help with these issues long term. Like these shared services, maybe it's something we can talk to ND Pers, like the state system, and maybe we can somehow get daycare on there. There's gotta be solutions. So health insurance providing benefits for your employees, that's kind of a big issue for, I think, a few of you. Toilets, it's a much bigger issue than I'd ever known.
Verla, is it possible that we could just sponsor the CDA training? And just provide it at no cost to people? Is that,
Like,
I don't know.
okay.
We don't have all of the training hours. We don't have enough hours available. I just was on a call with a provider, and we have a person in our office in Fargo that does the CDA process with people, you know, and finalizes that and sends in the information. And there are places online where people could purchase that. And then there's still the application of applying for the CDA, which is like $425 per person, something like that. They have to have training in different CDA functional areas, competency areas. And so it's not just take whatever you want, but it, you know, it has to be so many hours in each kind. Currently, we don't have all of that. So the easiest way to get it would be to go to one of those outside companies and purchase it that way. But it's not just the bookwork, it's training hours and putting together, you know, all of the information. It's quite a process.
But we could
So
sponsor maybe parts of that, like parts of the training.
Or could we could possibly, could we enlist and train up staff at North Valley or something where we could then have a long-term resource too? They're doing CNA training and certification, for example. I don't know what's all involved, so I'm a little ignorant on this one. I'm just trying to think of from a system standpoint, can we help and create a better
Creating a local program.
that-
that would-
right? So it's readily available, and if we could write the cost down, make it
That-
easier.
that would be long-term, but what about people that are interested right now? Could we not have people sign up for that and then pay for that for those people?
Yeah,
would
that's so,
Great.
is that something that we can do? Like,
And I could get a list of some agencies that do that, because I know the CDA Council has a list on their website even.
because maybe if we did a little at each agency, that would be a way to help.
Right.
So if we offered to sponsor some CN,
Needed to center.
would anybody like on this call take up, you know, take us up on that? If the cost wasn't there.
I
I
only
would have
got
a
half of
couple, I
the
think.
question, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I would have a couple, I think that would be, that are like in the process of actually doing the trainings that were free. But
Okay.
now that they won't be free, just to get enough of their hours, just because it is such a huge process. Just to pay for the training like they talked about before, that would be beneficial. Before you even get to the final CDA part, you know, it takes a long time. It's not something you can just do overnight. It's a long process.
Yeah,
What
but
would be-
even just some help,
CDA.
sorry. Do you want to repeat your question, Don? I kind of talked over you.
What would be the cost per person roughly?
I'm just looking, there's just a way long list. I'm looking on the council's website right now. I'm thinking it's like roughly $500 or $600 for the training piece. And then there would be the application to the council, which I know is right around $425, $450.
Okay.
And then they need so many hours of hands-on.
Mhm.
They can pick like family childcare,
Mhm.
preschool, infant, toddler. And so they need hands-on experience of 480 hours, which if you look at that, you know, that's a good 10, 12 weeks of full-time employment.
Mhm.
425 for applying online.
Yeah, that's just a guess.
Just-
Maybe even 450.
Mhm.
I'd have to do a little research on that, but I could.
We could help people get these credentials to be able to grow. That would, it seems like removing another barrier potentially.
And then what about having just a central location where we can kind of gather resources and have maybe Childcare Aware come, or maybe different people that can help go somewhere, and you could maybe meet with someone virtually or in person, maybe even a provider that's, you know, a center or whatever, and they can help you with that process, would anybody feel a benefit from that if there was like a localized spot where it's just kind of childcare information and someone can help you with paperwork or background checks or teach you how to have employees?
I already feel like Childcare Aware already does a pretty good job of having a lot of those resources available for
Mhm.
us.
Mhm.
I know I've always dealt with Tasha when I was doing the Childcare Aware program, and she was excellent resource. And I can call a couple of them other ones when I have questions about things. They're always willing to answer. So maybe going through them and granting like the CDA thing through them, and so it's right on their website, maybe would be good.
Yeah, because I don't want to duplicate, because I think they're just an excellent resource too, but.
Yeah, there's everything on, I mean, they're so good about calling and making sure you have slots available and updating information on their site, that I think they do a pretty good job keeping up with a lot of that.
Mhm.
There's just a lot less of us than there used to be.
Yeah,
I know I've been asked if we can just give you some of the money so that you can hire more staff, and I was like, I wish. It would be nice.
I think we need to solve that legislatively.
Yeah. So I guess, I don't know, does anybody else want to add anything? I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know everybody's very busy. And I want to just really say I appreciate your time, but feel free, like, say whatever you'd like. It's a safe place.
And I guess I'd like to put it out there. If you didn't answer the survey a couple weeks ago, we may not have your contact information. So just dropping Angel an email.
You can just reply right back to that email I sent out, or message me, or I can put my contact information in the chat so you guys can feel free to reach out to me, and I can at least direct you to the right person to help you if that's needed. So.
Well, to continue to inform as we work through this grant process, what resources we're able to make available, and so that there's great information back.
Yeah. So if you would like to be added to that list, so we did a survey, and at the end of that list, we're going to send updates as this goes along. We want to make sure we keep you very informed, but we're not going to spam you. So if you'd like to have that, just let me know, or let any of us know, and we'll be happy to add you.
Do you want to share those dates again in case they're relaying messages to anyone, that it's just a really tight turnaround?
So I didn't get clarification from Becca, but it sounded like we might have till the middle to end of June to get this all submitted to Grand Forks. If Grand Forks is going to be the lead applicant, so only one person can be the lead applicant. It sounds like they might be able to give us a little more time, and then it will go through the grant process. I don't know, Don, do you know more about it? It's usually a few months. You're muted.
Sorry about that. So we need to submit to Grand Forks and work through their approval process, and then we will submit to the state by the very end of July. They've promised a 30-day turnaround from the state, but these funds have been allocated to our region. We just have to make application. We're trying to figure out what the content of the application is. So I guess, I don't know where you're at, Angel, but I guess I envision us submitting maybe a facilities line item for facility improvements that increase slots, possibly a training line item. And if we're able to squeeze any equipment into there, we will. And then we'll have to see how we can make all that work. But and then we would like to do some sort of longer term plan so that we can, strengthen our ask in the future. I think we'll, be beating the drum that this is a critical need in our region. This is a huge barrier and huge crisis issue, frankly. We're at well less than half capacity needed to serve the communities that we're talking with.
For sure. We know what's in the issue. Oh, yep, go ahead.
Sorry, am I unmuted?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, you're muted now.
For me,
Yes, now I can hear you.
I won't touch the screen. So I was just listening through what everyone, was saying or whatever. So I am actually a home-based center or group. I have a group license up to 14. I usually only have maybe, 10 at the most because of the limits for points. And I know I had kind of spoken with you a little bit about how I'm kind of thinking about expanding. And obviously my house isn't an option. So I'm thinking more like a center and like actually like really expanding and opening. And I'm in Grand Forks, just for reference. And all these things are kind of things that I'm fearful of, keeping the staff. Like even if I have right now, like an appointment that I have no one to sub for me. Like there's just no easy solution to having, and then even the subs that you do have, I mean, the licensing, like regulate the things that they have to have in order, and you have to have like paperwork on file for these people. And it's not just like, oh, can you come over and watch my kids for an hour? I have to have the paperwork and everything for them. And I guess I'm just kind of like they were saying, insurance. If I actually do this and like I go for it or whatever, I want to be able to have employees that stay, because I don't want to have to be in the actual classroom every day. I mean, that's part of the reason that I want to expand, is I want to be able to do more of the, the office and work on like the fun things. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to find staff to, and then like, how would I work on all the paperwork that it's going to be needed, and like all the training hours, the additional education, if I need any of that stuff, like how would I do that when I'm a, one man show. So I would have to do it, I guess, on weekends, and I would have to do it at night. And then that takes time away from my family. And it's just, I'm kind of at this, I don't know what to do. Do I stay where I am, like totally maxed out? But then I am open to expanding and having something, with 30, 40, 50, whatever, however many kids. So I'm kind of just trying to, I'm taking it all in. Like, I'm just listening, and like the other woman had mentioned, definitely transportation. Like I know for a fact, I would have to have some kind of like a busing situation, because that's huge. And people really need that. They have nowhere. We have schools that get out at 1:00 on Wednesdays, almost like every couple weeks or every 3 weeks. And these parents have nowhere for their kids to go. Like they just don't have anywhere for them to go. And they have to take off work and get their kids to a daycare. And so we would need busing for sure. And it's definitely, I would say, staff, just finding the time to be able to do this, and the insurance to keep the staff is definite. And like, we wouldn't be able to build anything since we have to use the money within a year. It would have to be a building that's already available, and then maybe just doing some remodeling to it to make it, within the guidelines, because there's so many rules and so many guidelines. And that's another thing that scares me. I am like, the rules and stuff for licensing. It's like, gives me anxiety.
And then you get in, I'll add a little more burden to you here. If you're looking at a building, you need to consider zoning, and then there's fire codes. And is it a large enough building that you need a fire suppression system? Because a sprinkler system is extremely costly. So those are just some things to think about if you were thinking about a building. Then there's staffing, and can you find that staffing?
Yeah.
I think what Angel mentioned earlier about some shared services thought is a great idea that could maybe help you with some of that billing and record keeping and, taxes and some of that. And we have some resources on our website of working with staff and whatnot, if you've not gone down that path before. But I think those kind of services are probably an option. It would just be getting all the pieces together. And I'm not sure, as far as the insurance, I have been on that soapbox for almost 30 years of, can we get a group together that we can get insurance for them as a group? And you have to have some way to join a group in order for that to happen. And who does that paperwork? It's a huge effort. I've even gone to the insurance commissioner about it. I want that really badly for providers, because I think there's a lot of providers that would utilize that. I just haven't run across how you make that happen, but I think that would be a wonderful idea to be able to have something for people to buy into. Because not only as staff from facilities are looking for that, but we have a lot of home providers across rural North Dakota that maybe their husband farms, so he's not in on a company insurance plan, or he's self-employed. And so there's a lot of people that would probably access that.
Okay. Yeah, it's when you hear like all the different things, I mean, and like the time that it would take to even look into all of it, I guess it's like, at what point is it not even like worth it? And like, do I just stay? But I know our community needs it so much. So I
So
guess
what if you had like a mentor, like another provider that's gone through that process to
Yeah,
talk
yes.
to? I mean, would that make you feel?
I was going to try actually, and I was trying to, I've been potty training my son. So, and I just got a couple new kids for school. So this week's been busy, but I wanted to try and reach out to like Little Miracles or some of like the larger centers in my town. And I was going to reach out and see if any of them would be willing to meet with me and kind of like go over the steps, the numbers, just kind of show me where I would even be at or how I would have to do this, and kind of give me like a quick little rundown. And then I could kind of talk with my husband and see
If it's
his
worth it
thoughts.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to just add, because Grand Forks are so close to the Minnesota line, that my understanding with the funds is that they need to stay in North Dakota. So if you're getting estimates on work for renovations or toilets, those dollars need to stay, and the contractors and whatnot would need to be in North Dakota. Don't buy your toilet in East Grand Forks.
So kind of to sum it up, sounds like number one, toilets, or number two, whichever way you want. Sorry, bad joke. But having some sort of network for you guys to communicate, to share resources that you have, to share advice, kind of seems like that is wanted, whether that's informal or what, or over Facebook or website, or just meetings like this, sounds like it's needed. And then maybe help with some training. Sounds like, did I miss any kind of big spots? I know there's lots of little things, but any last comments, any last concerns, anything else anybody wants to say? I want to make sure everybody has a chance to speak if they'd like.
Thanks for setting this up, Angel.
Yeah, thank you to the providers. I know you guys are so busy. We really, really appreciate your time, and everybody that filled out the survey. It's been very insightful for us, and we hope we can help a little bit in any way we can, because I know it's hard out there for you guys. So really, thank you, and thank you for what you do, because I benefit from it with my kid. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working. So thank you.
A question about that application, the part, like, let's say if you were to submit, let's say we did the toilets and I would expand on my building for the toilets to make my facility run smoother, but we didn't expand onto the centers. So then would that disqualify us from, let's say, do you have to be expanding your daycare to more needs or just improving your daycare? That would be something maybe to think about too.
Our whole goal would be to expand slots, so we
Yep.
have to make sure that we're supporting that. I wonder, yeah,
It would just be nice if there was like a group forwarding, a group, like if you could just go on, because if you have the staff and you have the room, that's really, the major thing. But to move up to the center, like you said, you have to have those credentials.
mhm.
There was a comment about transportation, Red River Valley Community Action. It's doing something about transportation, so you can talk to them to see if they work. Yeah, so I don't know, anyone else want to add?
Also, I guess I will say one more thing. I know a few people who have home centers, and I think it'd be a good idea if you guys do end up having this grant. It'd be a good idea for them to maybe combine on a building. I don't know if they could get a building in the time that you need to spend the funds, but having multiple home centers combined as one center might be something I can tell them or let them know, because they have the children, everyone, I don't know, something to think about, I guess.
Yeah, one thing with that is we have to make sure that we're creating spots as well, instead of just combining. And you can't have like multiple individual daycares, they would have to combine into one.
Right.
Yeah. So if people were willing to, I mean, that might be something, but that's gotta be pushing the time frame just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that is definitely something we've talked about and we've considered, maybe even buying a facility and having it available for renting. It's just, can you get it? Can you renovate it in that time that we have? But it's definitely something we will consider. And we have.
I know lots of contractors too, so if you guys need contractors, I can get you to North Dakota contractors.
Oh, yep, and I will, I can post the video out. I saw someone wasn't here at the beginning. I can post it online if you'd like, otherwise I'll probably post it online tomorrow and just kind of send you guys the link for it. So I'll post it on YouTube, so it's not completely out there for everybody. So last chance, anybody want to add anything? We're open to every and any suggestion you have. All right, well, I just want to thank everybody again for your time, and we will keep you informed. If you didn't take the survey or you didn't put your email address in there, just feel free to respond to my email. I put my information in the chat. Feel free to reach out to me and I can add you to that list and we can make sure we keep you updated on what's going on with this grant. And if you have any ideas that you didn't want to maybe bring up in public, you can always email them to me as well. Anything that you can think of, like I had no idea about toilets, and now I think it could be a great thing that we can add to our list. So feel free to reach out with anything. We're here and available. So thanks again. And I should probably, and I'll probably be able to post this tomorrow so that people can see the video. Sorry, I'm trying to read at the same time. To view and send an email. Yeah, that would be great. And yeah, I can post, I'll put my email in here again, just in case anybody missed it in the chats, but yeah, reach out and let me know what county you're in too, so I can make sure, to pass, because we have people working for every county. So I just want to make sure that you would go to the right place too, so. All right, well, thank you, and everybody have a good night, and I really, really appreciate you guys coming, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.